Welcome back to the channel Coin Star everyone, and thank you for stopping by the channel where ordinary pocket change can secretly hide extraordinary stories. Today I want to welcome you into a fascinating journey that begins with a simple welcome to all new and returning viewers and a short introduction to one of the most misunderstood yet potentially valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint. The 1994 P. Roosevelt dime from the United States of America, a coin that most people would pass over without a second thought. A coin that carries a humble face value of just 10 cents, yet under very specific circumstances, rare errors, mint mistakes, metal anomalies, striking defects, die varieties, and unusual production possibilities, this small silver-colored coin has been rumored, discussed, speculated on, and in some legendary collector circles even valued as high as $1 million, and today we are going to dive deeply, carefully, and thoroughly into how and why a 1994 Philadelphia minted dime can become so incredibly valuable, how minting errors turn common change into rare treasure, how historical context plays an important role, and why collectors across the world continue to search rolls of dimes hoping to find one special example that defies expectations and changes lives. So settle in and enjoy this long and detailed exploration of the 1994 P United States of American dime and the extraordinary factors that can make it worth far more than its face value, because coins are not just money, they are history, accidents, art, and opportunity all rolled into one small disc of metal, and the 1994 P dime is a perfect example of this truth. The Roosevelt dime design itself has a deep legacy, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a man whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II reshaped the nation and whose personal struggle with polio made him a symbol of resilience and strength. The dime became more than just currency, it became a miniature monument in the hands of everyday Americans, and by 1994, the Roosevelt dime had been in continuous production for nearly 5 decades, minted in enormous quantities and circulating widely across the country, and because of this massive production, most people assumed that no dime from the 1990s could ever be truly rare or valuable. But the reality of minting is that even in the age of modern machinery, mistakes happen, and when they do, they can create coins that are wildly different from their intended form, coins that escape quality control and enter circulation or collector hands, and these mistakes are exactly what transform a 10-cent coin into a piece potentially worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or in extremely rare and dramatic cases, even $1 million. The 1994 P dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which by that time no longer used a P mint mark on dimes, meaning that the absence of a mint mark actually identifies its origin, and this lack of a visible mint mark sometimes confuses new collectors, but for error hunters, the Philadelphia Mint of the 1990s is a treasure field, as it produced enormous volumes of coinage under tight schedules, sometimes leading to overlooked flaws, worn dies, misaligned planchets, and unexpected metal compositions slipping through. One of the most talked about possibilities that could elevate a 1994 P dime into the realm of million-dollar valuations is a wrong planchet error, where the dime is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even another coin series entirely. Imagine a Roosevelt dime design struck on a planchet meant for a quarter, a penny, or a foreign coin, creating dramatic differences in weight, thickness, and edge characteristics. Such coins are instantly identifiable and extremely rare, and if authenticated and preserved in top condition, they can command staggering prices. Another extraordinary possibility is a dime struck on a silver planchet, even though by 1994 dimes were supposed to be made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy, yet on rare occasions, leftover silver planchets from earlier eras or experimental blanks can accidentally be fed into the presses, resulting in a modern dime struck on silver. And such transitional or wrong metal errors are among the most desirable in the numismatic world, because they represent a clear and undeniable deviation from official mint specifications, and when these coins surface, especially in uncirculated or proof-like condition, collectors compete aggressively to own them, driving prices into extraordinary territory, sometimes reaching figures that seem unbelievable to outsiders but make perfect sense to those who understand rarity, demand, and historical significance. Another category of errors that can elevate the value of a 1994 P dime dramatically is double die errors, where the coin's design appears double due to a misalignment during the die creation process, and while minor doubling is common and often mistaken for damage or machine doubling, true double dies show strong, distinct separation in lettering, numbers, and design elements, such as the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date itself. And a dramatic double die obverse or reverse on a modern dime is exceptionally rare, because quality control processes improved significantly by the 1990s, making any strong double die from that era a major discovery, especially if the doubling is bold and clearly visible without magnification. Another highly sought-after error is an off-center strike, where the coin design is not properly centered on the planchet, resulting in missing portions of the design and blank areas on the coin. And while minor off-center strikes are relatively common and modestly collectible, extreme off-center strikes that still show a full date and mint identification are much rarer and more valuable, and when combined with other errors or exceptional eye appeal, they can reach astonishing price levels, particularly if the coin escaped circulation and remains in near-perfect condition. Then there are broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out and appear wider and flatter than normal, often lacking reeded edges. And a broad-struck 1994 P dime with sharp details and no circulation where can be highly desirable, particularly when paired with other striking anomalies that make it stand out from typical error coins. Another fascinating error category is die clashes, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of one design element on the opposite side of the coin. And while die clashes are not uncommon, dramatic and well-defined clashes can significantly enhance a coin's collectability, and on a 1994 P dime, a strong die clash that escaped polishing and remained visible can add both visual intrigue and monetary value. Cracked dies and retained cuts are another avenue through which a humble dime can gain enormous value. As dies deteriorate over time due to the immense pressure exerted during striking, cracks can form and eventually chunks of the die can break away, leaving raised blobs of metal known as cuds on the struck coins, and large, dramatic retained cuds or die breaks that visibly distort the coin's design can create unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that collectors eagerly pursue, and since each die break progresses over time, early, mid, and late-stage examples can tell a story of the die's failure, adding depth and narrative appeal to the coin, making it more than just an error but a documented moment in the life of a minting tool. Another major factor that can elevate the 1994 P dime into legendary territory is condition rarity combined with error rarity, because a coin with a dramatic error is impressive, but a coin with a dramatic error preserved in pristine, uncirculated, or even mint state condition is exponentially more valuable, especially if it displays full original luster, sharp strikes, and no signs of wear, cleaning, or damage. And when such a coin is professionally graded and encapsulated by a respected third-party grading service, its authenticity and condition are recognized and trusted by collectors and investors, allowing it to command maximum prices at auction, sometimes triggering bidding wars that push values far beyond initial estimates. Another layer of intrigue surrounds mint mark errors and missing or altered design elements. Although the 1994 Philadelphia dime is supposed to have no mint mark, unusual anomalies such as ghost mint marks, filled design elements, missing letters, or partial inscriptions can occur due to grease-filled dies or striking irregularities. And while many of these errors are minor, extreme examples where entire parts of the design are missing or distorted can create visually striking coins that are highly sought after, especially if they are clearly mint errors rather than post-mint damage. Another possibility that fuels million-dollar speculation is the existence of experimental or pattern coins, which are not intended for circulation but are produced to test new compositions, designs, or minting techniques. And while most patterns are destroyed or retained by the mint, a few have historically escaped into private hands. And if a 1994 dime were discovered that could be conclusively proven to be an experimental strike on an unusual alloy or with undocumented design features, it would instantly become one of the most important modern coin discoveries in U.S. numismatics, potentially justifying a seven-figure valuation, especially given the intense interest in unique modern errors and patterns among elite collectors. Hidden treasures, unbelievable errors, and the kind of stories where a tiny everyday object can secretly be worth millions of dollars, then you are absolutely in the right place, because today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood modern American coins, the one-dime 1998 P United States of America Liberty coin, a small 10-cent piece that most people would never look at twice. Yet under the right conditions, with the right errors, mistakes, and mint mark variations, this ordinary-looking coin can shock the entire coin-collecting world with values reported as high as $2 million, and yes, that is not a typo. We are talking about a coin whose face value is only 10 cents but whose hidden characteristics, production flaws, and rare anomalies have pushed certain examples into legendary status. So settle in, stay focused, and make sure you watch until the end because what you are about to learn could completely change the way you look at coins. In your pocket forever. The 1998 p-dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mints in the United States, a facility with a long legacy of producing American coinage going all the way back to the earliest days of the nation, and the P-mint mark on this dime indicates it was produced in Philadelphia, a mint that is known for incredibly high output numbers. And at first glance this might make the 1998 p-dime seem extremely common, and in normal circumstances that would be true because hundreds of millions of dimes were produced that year, meaning most 1998 p-dimes you come across are only worth their face value of 10 cents, but what separates ordinary coins from extraordinary ones is not the year alone, it is the story of how the coin was struck, what went wrong during the minting process, and whether that mistake escaped quality control and made its way into circulation. Because when errors happen at the mint, they create coins that were never supposed to exist, and collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts of money for those forbidden pieces of metal. The Roosevelt dime design used in 1998 features President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, facing left, with the word Liberty boldly displayed along the left side, "In God We Trust" appearing near the lower left, and the date 1998 placed near Roosevelt's neckline, while the reverse showcases a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch representing peace and strength, with United States of America and one dime clearly spelled out, and while this design had been used for decades, it was during modern minting processes like those of the late 1990s that rare mechanical and human errors began to create some of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. One of the most significant reasons why a 1998 p-dime can reach values approaching or even exceeding $2 million is due to extremely rare mint errors, especially those involving die errors, planchet errors, and mint mark anomalies, which are the holy grail for advanced collectors because they provide physical proof of a failure in the highly controlled minting process. A die error occurs when the metal dies used to strike the coin are damaged, misaligned, or improperly prepared, and once a damaged die is used, it can continue striking coins with the same defect until the problem is noticed and corrected, meaning a small batch of error coins can enter circulation unnoticed, and if that error is dramatic enough, such as a major off-center strike, a broad strike, a rotated die, a clashed die, or a missing design element, the value can skyrocket beyond anything most people would imagine. One legendary category of error that has driven the value of certain 1998 p-dimes into the seven-figure range is the double die error, where the die used to strike the coin contains a doubled image due to misalignment during the die creation process, resulting in visibly doubled lettering, numbers, or design elements on the coin itself. And in rare cases the doubling is so strong and clear that it can be seen without magnification, making the coin instantly recognizable and unbelievably desirable. Another extraordinary error is the wrong planchet error, which happens when a dime is struck on a metal blank intended for a different denomination or even a different coin entirely, such as a foreign coin or a thicker planchet meant for a quarter, and when a 1998 p-dime is struck on the wrong planchet, it can weigh significantly more or less than a normal dime, have unusual coloration, or show incomplete design details, and these types of errors are among the rarest because modern minting facilities use advanced automated systems designed to prevent planchets from mixing, which means when such an error occurs, it represents a massive failure in quality control and is therefore extremely valuable. One of the most astonishing possibilities involves the transitional metal errors, where a dime might be struck on a planchet made of a composition that was not intended for that year, and even though the standard Roosevelt dime in 1998 was composed of a copper core clad with nickel, any deviation from that composition could indicate a transitional error or experimental planchet, which instantly places the coin into elite rarity status and attracts the attention of top auction houses and museum level collectors. Another powerful factor that can drive the value of a 1998 P dime into the $1 million range is an extreme off-metal strike combined with a dramatic visual error, such as missing layers, where part of the nickel cladding is absent, exposing the copper core beneath, creating a two-tone appearance that collectors find irresistible because it clearly shows the internal structure of the coin and proves a mechanical failure during the minting process. In some of the rarest cases, entire sections of the coin's design may be missing due to a grease-filled die, where grease or debris fills the recesses of the die, preventing the design from being fully transferred onto the planchet, resulting in a ghost-like coin with faded or missing lettering, and when this error is severe and well preserved, it can command extraordinary prices. Mint mark errors also play a significant role in the valuation of certain 1998 P dimes, because although Philadelphia coins typically carry a P mint mark during this era, anomalies such as a missing mint mark, a misplaced mint mark, or even a doubled or repunched mint mark can drastically increase value, especially when combined with other errors, and when multiple errors appear on a single coin. The value increases exponentially rather than incrementally, meaning a coin with 2 or 3 distinct minting errors could be worth far more than the sum of its parts. Another factor that elevates the value of these coins is condition, because even the rarest error coin will lose significant value if it is heavily worn or damaged after leaving the mint, while a pristine example preserved in near-perfect or mint-state condition can multiply its value many times over, especially if it has never been cleaned, altered, or mishandled. And coins that are professionally graded and authenticated by major grading services often achieve the highest prices at auction. Because buyers trust the certification and are willing to pay a premium for verified authenticity. One reason why the 1998 P dime has become such a hot topic among collectors is the growing interest in modern era coins, as collectors increasingly realize that rarity is not limited to ancient or early American coins, but can also be found in relatively recent issues. And the idea that a coin minted within many people's lifetimes could be worth millions adds an element of excitement and accessibility that has fueled massive interest on social media and online video platforms, where stories of everyday people discovering valuable coins have gone viral. The possibility aspect is what truly captivates audiences, because unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, 1998 P dimes were released into circulation, meaning they could still be hiding in coin jars, piggy banks, cash registers, or even loose change, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for, and this treasure hunt mentality is a huge driver of engagement and curiosity. What makes the story even more compelling is that many error coins were initially dismissed as damaged or defective and spent without a second thought, only later to be recognized as legitimate mint errors worth incredible sums, which means that education and awareness are key, and the more people learn about these errors, the higher the chances that rare examples will be identified and saved rather than lost forever. The market for rare error coins is driven by demand, rarity, and storytelling, and a 1998 P dime with a spectacular error tells a story of a moment in time when the most advanced minting systems failed, creating a unique artifact that cannot be replicated, and collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying that story, that uniqueness, and that connection to history. Auction records show that coins with dramatic mint errors, especially when paired with pristine condition and professional grading, can achieve astonishing results, and while not every reported multi-million-dollar sale is publicly documented due to private transactions, the consensus among experts is that the highest-end error dimes occupy a category of their own, where values are driven as much by rarity and prestige as by traditional price guides. It is also important to understand that hype alone does not make a coin valuable, and only genuine mint errors verified by experts can command such high prices. Where everyday pocket change can secretly transform into a life-changing fortune, because in today's video we are diving deep into the mysterious and fascinating story of the one-dime 2003 P United States of America Liberty coin, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary, carries a face value of just 10 cents, and is often ignored or casually spent, yet under the right circumstances has stunned collectors with reported values reaching as high as $4 million, and this incredible difference between face value and collector worth is what makes coin collecting one of the most thrilling hobbies in the world, because this 2003 P dime proves that rarity is not always about age or gold but about tiny details, microscopic mistakes, and unexpected errors that slipped past the US Mint and into circulation, creating legends that collectors dream of finding. So let's start by setting the scene because the year 2003 was a modern era of American coinage when millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the absence of a mint mark or sometimes subtly indicated by the P designation, and most of these dimes were mass-produced with high-speed presses, which means perfection was the goal, but perfection was not always achieved, because when machines operate at such speed even the smallest misalignment, die flaw, planchet problem, or mint mark anomaly can create a coin that is entirely unique, and uniqueness is the heartbeat of value in numismatics, and the 2003 P dime became special not because it was meant to be rare but because it was never supposed to exist in the flawed form that some collectors discovered, featuring errors so dramatic yet subtle that they rewrote its destiny from pocket change to auction sensation. Because when we talk about a potential $4 million valuation, we are not talking about every 2003 dime but about a specific combination of extraordinary conditions, pristine preservation, and jaw-dropping mint errors that align with collector demand at the highest level, and one of the most discussed possibilities is the presence of a dramatic off-center strike where the design of President Franklin D. Roosevelt and the Liberty inscription appears shifted significantly from the center, leaving a blank crescent of metal that instantly tells experts something went wrong during striking. And such errors become exponentially more valuable when the date and mint designation remain visible, which in rare discovered cases of the 2003 P dime they did, making them prime candidates for record-breaking prices. And then there are double die errors where the die itself was misaligned during the creation process, causing the letters in Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 2003 to appear doubled or even tripled under magnification, creating a ghostly shadow effect that collectors seek passionately, because double dies are not post-mint damage but original minting mistakes, locking their legitimacy into numismatic history. And when such doubling is strong and well-defined, especially on a modern coin where quality control was expected to be near perfect, it shocks the collecting community and fuels intense bidding wars. And another astonishing factor that could elevate a 2003 P dime into the multi-million-dollar range is a wrong planchet error, meaning the dime was struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination or even another coin system entirely, such as a cent planchet or a foreign planchet, resulting in a coin with incorrect weight, thickness, and metallic composition. And such errors are incredibly rare in the modern era due to advanced sorting systems at the mint, but not impossible, and when proven authentic through metallurgical analysis they become crown jewels of modern era collecting, because they represent a perfect storm of manufacturing failure, survival, and discovery. And weight anomalies play a massive role here because a standard Roosevelt dime should weigh approximately 2.268 grams, so any deviation can indicate something extraordinary, and collectors meticulously weigh and measure their coins searching for that telltale difference. And then there is the mysterious realm of missing clad layer errors where part of the copper-nickel outer layer fails to bond correctly, leaving one side of the dime with a dramatically different appearance, often copper-colored or ghostly pale, instantly setting it apart from normal coins. And when such an error occurs cleanly without excessive damage and remains in near-perfect uncirculated condition, the value can skyrocket beyond imagination, especially when combined with other factors like a rotated die where the reverse is misaligned relative to the obverse, creating a visually shocking twist that should never happen in a properly aligned minting process. And let's not forget about mint mark errors and anomalies, because although Philadelphia dimes traditionally do not carry a prominent mint mark like Denver or San Francisco coins, subtle anomalies in the die or tooling marks can be mistaken for mint marks or create phantom letters, raising questions and excitement among collectors. And in extremely rare cases experimental dies or transitional errors can create marks that should not exist at all, further elevating the mystery and desirability of the coin. And what truly pushes a 2003 P dime into the realm of million-dollar speculation is not just one error but the convergence of multiple dramatic errors on a single coin, because the market rewards extreme rarity, and when a coin shows an off-center strike combined with a double die, wrong planchet, and pristine condition with no circulation wear, it becomes a once-in-a-generation discovery, and condition is everything because collectors pay premiums for coins graded MS-68, MS-69, or even the nearly mythical MS-70, and when a major grading service authenticates such a coin and confirms its error status, the marketplace reacts with explosive enthusiasm, and auction houses amplify the story, framing it as a modern miracle that challenges the belief that only ancient or gold coins can be truly valuable, and this is where psychology enters the equation because wealthy collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying history, scarcity, bragging rights, and the dream of owning something no one else can. And this psychological premium can push prices far beyond traditional price guides, sometimes into seven-figure territory when competition heats up between elite buyers, and the $4 million figure attached to a legendary 2003 P dime reflects the upper edge of what is possible when all these variables collide under perfect market conditions, and while skeptics argue that such values are extreme, history has repeatedly proven that the numismatic market can defy expectations. Because once a coin is universally recognized as unique or one of a kind, its price becomes whatever the highest bidder is willing to pay, and stories of pocket change turning into fortunes fuel the imagination of millions of people worldwide, causing them to search their drawers, jars, and wallets with renewed hope, and the 2003 P dime symbolizes that hope more than almost any modern coin, because it reminds us that rarity is not always planned but sometimes born from mistakes, oversights, and human imperfection embedded in industrial processes, and every scratch-free surface, every sharp detail of Roosevelt's profile, every crisp letter in Liberty plays a role in evaluating the coin's potential, and even storage history matters because coins that were immediately set aside or accidentally preserved in rolls rather than circulated stand a much higher chance of retaining the condition needed for extraordinary valuations, and this is why experienced collectors stress careful handling, proper storage, and professional authentication, because a genuine error coin mishandled can lose a significant portion of its potential value, and the story of the 2003 P dime also highlights the evolving nature of numismatics in the digital age, where social media, online auctions, and global forums allow discoveries to spread rapidly, turning unknown coins into overnight sensations, and when a credible discovery emerges backed by documentation and expert grading, the hype can push prices to levels once thought impossible for a clad dime, and at its core this coin teaches a powerful lesson. That value is not defined by denomination but by rarity, demand, and story, and the story of a dime that escaped perfection, survived unnoticed, and emerged decades later as a multi-million-dollar icon is exactly the kind of narrative that captivates audiences and inspires new collectors, because anyone could be holding the next treasure without knowing it. And as you listen to this story you might feel the urge to check your own change, not because every 2003 dime is valuable but because the possibility exists, and that possibility is what keeps collectors searching, studying, and dreaming, and as long as coins are struck by human-designed machines, errors will continue to exist, and where there are errors there is rarity, and where there is rarity there is value. And the one dime 2003 P United States of America Liberty coin stands as a shining example of how something small can become something monumental, transforming from 10 cents into a symbol of fortune, fascination, and the endless thrill of the hunt, and that is why this humble dime continues to capture attention, spark debate, and ignite imagination across the collecting world, reminding us that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight.